Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this video I will be drawing 100 heads. That to me is a lot, a lot. But when I flip through my pages, it doesn't really feel like it's a lot. The 100 heads that I drew, maybe it's because it's 10 heads on each page. But here I had like a rough start, so I ended up drawing a different picture. Here I am redrawing the head that I was having trouble with earlier. Being that I previously did those 3 heads, I feel like that was a little warm up for me to get the engine running. Because it was really easy after doing those other heads. For this head, I decided to black out the area and then erase for the highlights. I find this method a bit intimidating, but it's also fun, like configuring the highlights before the shadows, and it's just like, you know, a different approach compared to the, you know, dark, putting in your shadows first opposed to your highlights. When I start a drawing, I don't always start with the eyes. I may start with, you know, the more larger shapes, or I may work my way inside and then go on to the outside, or I may work my way from the outside, which is like the shape of the head, and then move in the inside. So there's no one way that I do it. I like doing it, you know, always. As you can see here, I did the outside first and then I worked my way in. What I do to help me try to gauge the distance of, you know, the features is I try to like see how far the nose is from the eyes, and from that point to find the lips, I might see like, oh, does the pupil match up with the corner of the lips, or of some sort like that. So doing that can help gauge where to put, you know, the placement of, you know, whatever feature you're working with. I also despise this drawing. I was like really rushing to get done with this spread because I was doing this before work. Unfortunately, I lost footage to one of the drawings. That one right there, number 16. I forgot to press record and I was so in the zone. I normally look up to see if I'm capturing what I'm drawing, and I was so engrossed into what I was doing that I forgot to look up and check, so I lost that whole footage. Okay, so now we're on my 3rd spread. I decided to work with a pen, and I really enjoyed drawing in a pen. It was very challenging. because it's like you have to be a little bit more confident in your lines, but you always start off light and then um, darken the areas once you found your shape that you're gonna go with. So it's nice, you know. If you ever decide to work with a pen, you should definitely try it out because it's fun, and it also makes you a little bit more confident in the placement, like your line work. It's not always perfect, and you may mess up, but that's why you start off a little light and then you go in with more darkness. But you know, the messed up lines adds character to your drawing, so don't fret. This one is actually one of my favorite drawings. I just love the contrast in this one, and then the lines that create the darkness. It adds a lot of texture, and it makes it look interesting to look at. And this spread, I decided to use watercolors. It was a little challenging to use because I'm not all too familiar with working in watercolor, although I have used it before. I'm not all that good at drawing ears, so in the upcoming drawings that I will be doing, you will notice that my ears are a little wonky. This drawing was a bit difficult for me, um, and I didn't like it at all. So I completely eradicated this one from this spread. The way her face looks right now is how I feel about how I drew it. For real. Now, this one I didn't like at all. I did not obtain the features properly, and the face looks very elongated. So I'm restarting now, and it comes out way better. This is actually a character from Queen of the Damned, a vampire movie that I love so much, and I decided to draw him. This is Lestat, so it came out way better. In this spread, I decided to draw with colored pens. So I did red, orange, blue, pink, and I tried to do like a little highlighter thing. I believe a YouTuber, Jess Carp, she did something with the highlighter, and I tried to do it, and I was like, not for me. But this page was a nice heap of scribble in a good way. Now, if you are familiar with the original 100 Heads challenge, you'll see that I have some of the images from that Pinterest page, but I wanted to gather a lot of my own images because I just felt like it'll be fun, much fun that way. But I did want to take some from the original Pinterest page for the 100 Heads Challenge and incorporate it into my page, my 100 Heads, because I think these faces I wouldn't normally do, so this was kind of out of my comfort zone, but it was very fun. So I decided in this spread that I was going to work with markers. The markers that I used are Prismacolor, Copic markers, and Chartpak, and I also used a little bit of pencil color, a bit of color pencils to help sharpen the details a bit. I have had experience with working with markers. I used to do it in college for my fashion design major. We would use markers a lot for our fashion figures and, you know, just designing our collection. So I've had a good amount of experience with blending with these markers, and I must say that they're great. I cannot compare them to any other markers because these are the only ones I've ever used. And here is the drawing that I had to eradicate from, I believe it was spread 3 that I did, or no, it was spread 4 that I did, and I did it over using markers and color pencils, and I loved it better. As you can see, I kept it. Now back to the markers. I can actually compare them to themselves, of course. So the Copic markers are pretty nice. I like them. If you're trying to lay down an even color or even coat of color, you do have to work a bit fast because it does dry fast. And if you go over the area where you colored in, it can definitely darken. So it can leave a bit of streaks at that point, so you'd probably have to go over the entire area that you colored in. The Chartpak marker is nice when it comes to getting an even tone because it doesn't dry as fast. The only thing is it has a very pungent smell to it, so I would suggest working in a well ventilated area so that the smell isn't too overwhelming and overbearing for you. You can see in this drawing, I tried coloring the entire thing and it was a bit patchy. Sometimes you just gotta go over it with a couple layers. And you can also use color pencils to even out the color. As you can see, this is the Chartpak marker that I was talking about. The color is extremely smooth. Like, you saw how I was working it. My next set of heads, I decided to use graphite again. I'm using my mechanical pencil. It's definitely allowing a lot more detail, being that it's extremely fine, so I can get, you know, those small details that sometimes you may not be able to catch with a, you know, a pencil if it's not sharp enough. So that's something that I respect about mechanical pencils, is its fine point, being able to get the very small and particular details that makes everything look a lot cleaner and neater. This is spread 8. I decided to go with color pencil again. This color is a bit muted. It's like a brownish reddish tone, and I like how it looks with on the faces that I'm drawing. As you can see, I'm not putting in a lot of like very fine details, and because of that, I am focusing more on the contrast of the pictures that I'm drawing. I think that it's giving depth, it's showing depth of a face. Spread 9. So spread 9, I decided to work with a chopstick and some blue Indian ink. At this point, I was pretty much defeated. As you continue to watch this, you can see that this page, this spread, is not my strongest page. I was really pushing through completing this one right here. Definitely pay attention to, you know, your how you're feeling, because sometimes that can reflect in the work that you do, and I just think that part of that was showing like I don't really care at this point, like I just kind of want to get this over and done with. But I think my last few heads kind of show that I was a bit more engaged in drawing, because I think the last few heads are much better than the ones that I started out with. I am finally on my last set of heads. I decided to go back in with a pen, this time a black pen. Here I wasn't really focusing on much of the shading. I was just getting the face and some details and adding a bit of color here and there. I really like how this one, how 93 turned out. 93 and 94. I feel like they're like a minimalist type of drawing. Like it's not a lot of shading and a lot of depth within the drawing, but the color definitely makes it pop. As I was on my last spread, I was thinking to myself, I don't really see much of a difference from the first set of heads compared to my last set of heads. But what I can say is that I've gotten a bit faster. I've gotten a bit confident in, you know, starting a face. I'm not as scared, or no, I don't want to say scared, but sometimes I have this like this anxious feeling sometimes when I'm starting a drawing, and I don't really have much of that feeling anymore. It's more of like go for it and see, see how I can figure things out. And I really enjoyed doing this challenge. It really showed how, mentally I've progressed. My thought process when I'm starting a drawing is just not as intimidating. Draw 100 heads and see if the 101 head is as intimidating as starting the first one. This challenge kind of showed me how much more I need to push my limits. What else can I do? What else can I get better at? And I'm looking forward to starting something else that will test my skills. Make me better. I'm trying to be the best out here. Thank you for watching this video, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed it. Hit that bell notification so you're notified when I post, and I will leave the remainder of the video for you to watch. Thank you again. I'm gonna leave it off with my peace, prosperity, and love. Later.